The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine, September 3, 2023. Russia continues desperate recruitment efforts to bolster its depleted forces in Ukraine, targeting citizens of neighboring countries with financial incentives and coercion. Online advertisements offering significant signing bonuses and salaries have appeared in Armenia and Kazakhstan, seeking to recruit ethnic Russians and other minorities. Reports indicate Russia has confiscated passports of Central Asian migrants in occupied areas of Ukraine, forcing them into military service. These recruitment strategies allow Russia to acquire personnel without further domestic mobilization that could risk public discontent ahead of 2024 presidential elections. However, reliance on inexperienced foreign recruits is unlikely to substantially improve Russia's battlefield capabilities or replace mounting casualties. Russia's need to resort to such measures highlights the exhaustion of its effective combat forces after 6 months of costly war. As Ukraine plans counteroffensives to retake occupied territory, Russia's lack of trained soldiers could prove a critical vulnerability. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine update as of 6 p.m. September 3, 2023. On day 557 of Russia's invasion, Ukrainian forces continue to repel attacks and make incremental gains in counteroffensives. The Ukrainian General Staff reports that Russia conducted 1 missile strike, 39 airstrikes, 24 MLRS attacks, and artillery shelling across multiple regions. Civilian areas were hit again, resulting in casualties. Notable developments: Russia continues unsuccessful ground assaults near Avdiivka and Marinka in Donetsk. Ukraine holds positions. Ukraine maintains counteroffensive momentum near Kherson, consolidating gains. Russia shells Kherson city. Intense fighting continues around Bakhmut and Siversk in Donetsk. Russia launches air and artillery strikes. Zaporizhia sees heavy Russian shelling against civilian areas. Ukraine repels ground attacks. Russia targeting Kharkiv region with missiles and artillery. Ukraine maintains control. Ukrainian forces carried out 9 air strikes and 10 artillery strikes on Russian positions, equipment, and anti-air systems. Russia is relying on long-range missiles and artillery as its ground forces struggle to make gains. Ukraine's resistance remains strong and it continues localized counterattacks. Russia's recruitment efforts indicate problems sustaining troop levels. Ukraine maintains operational initiative with Western backing. The Institute for the Study of War Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. Recent remarks by Ukrainian Brigadier General Alexander Tarnovsky indicate Ukrainian forces have made decisive breakthroughs against Russian defensive lines in western Zaporizhia Oblast. Tarnovsky stated Ukrainian troops have breached the Russians' first line of defense, and he expects faster advances against weaker second-line positions. Ukrainian troops are now approaching these new defenses around Robotyne. There appears to be differing terminology between Ukrainian and Russian sources regarding these defensive lines. Russia refers to recently breached positions as a forward area, while the new line is their first main defense. Ukraine calls these the first and second defense lines. Regardless of the terminology difference, Tarnovsky's confident assessment aligns with reports of successful Ukrainian counteroffensive actions in this area. Russian defensive positions were likely haphazardly prepared amid the Ukrainian advance. If Ukraine can maintain momentum and penetrate the new defensive line, it may enable further operational gains towards Zaporizhia city and Melitopol. Russian forces are under increasing pressure in this sector as Ukraine dictates the battlefield dynamics. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. Ukraine continues advances near Bakhmut and western Zaporizhia, aided by ability to maneuver in sparse Russian minefields. Ukraine still conducting operations east of the Dnipro River in Kherson despite Russian control. Russia struck Ukrainian port infrastructure in Odessa with drones. Russia rapidly recruiting through crypto mobilization, but quality and allocation of personnel remains uncertain. Russia conducted offensive operations along several fronts, gaining ground in some areas. Russian police patrolling polls in occupied territories to prevent dissent and monitor voting. In summary, Ukraine makes incremental gains in counteroffensives, while Russia continues offensive operations along the front lines. Drone attack on Odessa highlights Russia's targeting of Ukrainian economic assets. Crypto mobilization boosting Russian manpower, but with uncertain impacts. Voting in occupied regions being tightly controlled by Russian security forces.